Once a week I have to do my radio show, A State of Trance, usually on Wednesday night. I try to go running at least 3 times a week and spend at least a day without turning my laptop on and spend it with my wife and daughter. In 92-93, I was at that age when I was looking for my identity, and that's when I found dance music and I really fell in love with it. I got into house music thanks to Dutch master mixer Ben Liebrand and my friends at school. I really love the Interlooper album of carbon-based life forms. It's ambient. Back when I was still in primary school, a friend of mine handed me a cassette with some of Ben Liebrand's mini mixtapes. I was hooked right there and then. My biggest show in the US was selling out Madison Square Garden, twice, once with A State of Trance, once as Armin only. Playing the Forum in LA. But those were just the big shows, you know. But I think my first time at Ultra Music Festival was a big one, too. One of my first songs I made was Blue Fear in 1997, and that record became my first hit as well. I've got so many great memories of that track. It's what started it all. I'm an electronic guy. I'm a freak for electronic music, but real instruments, the dynamic range of it, and the emotions, there's no comparison. I'm not a jukebox. I don't play exactly what the crowd wants to hear, that doesn't make sense. But, I do look at people requests. At the end of the day, they are the ticket payers and they are the ones that come to the show. If I played music that purely entertains me, I'd play very weird music. It felt absolutely amazing to be voted the #1 DJ in the world by so many fans. It's always nice to feel valued and appreciated for the things you love doing the most. I don't try to be someone I'm not. I've always followed my heart and trance has always been my main sound. I'm actually sometimes nervous right before a performance, but as soon as I'm on the stage I'm like, okay, we're gonna rock this baby. It's either to take a quick nap or to pack up my stuff so I can catch my flight to the next gig. Don't ever forget that creating music has to be fun. I grew up in Koudekerk on de Rijn, located in what they call the Green Heart of Holland. It's close to Leiden, so I got a bit of both ways of life, small town life versus big city life. We, as a people, we have a strong need to categorize everything. We put labels on everything and it's a totally understandable need because we are animals and we need to understand order and where to fit in. It's an artist's choice to listen to criticism or not. I'm very sensitive to criticism. The younger generation has embraced Twitter and Facebook massively, and they spend most of their time on there. So if I want to reach new fans or keep in touch with my current, I try to use Twitter and Facebook as much as possible. Holland was one of the first countries to adopt dance music into their culture, and we were the first ones to have really big raves. I grew up in that atmosphere in the early 1990s, and I was very interested in how dance music was made. I think I prefer producing a little more than DJing because you have more freedom, you can make anything you want, it doesn't necessarily have to be 4 to the floor. You can go more with your mood, or the atmosphere that you're in. Balance for me is finding the perfect amount of time between family life, being on the road, and being creative. Miami was very important. I found a good trance following in Denver, Dallas, and that area. But it took a while. It was a club thing for a long time. I always promised myself as a little kid that if I ever had the opportunity to make my own radio show, I would do it. DJs did bus tours, cause clubs were very important to the scene. Now the fans just come to EDC or Beyond Wonderland or Ultra Music Festival, cause that's where they get their share of the music that they want to hear. DJs did bus tours, cause clubs were very important to the scene. Now the fans just come to EDC or Beyond Wonderland or Ultra Music Festival, cause that's where they get their share of the music that they want to hear. I listen to ambient music a lot. It makes me feel like I'm home. I love music, and I love dance music immediately. So I bought some equipment and started making my own. When I started this, I didn't say, okay, I'm going to do this step and then this step to become popular. I just created music that I loved. I recommend everyone who DJs to do it as a hobby and make sure you have a day job or are going to school. Only 100 DJs in the world make a living doing this, by that I mean making a good, comfortable living. My father was a general practitioner. All considered, I think they're really proud of what I do and how far I've come. They've stood by me every step along the way, and I'm really grateful for their unconditional support. Having a personal trainer, for instance, motivates me a lot to keep active in the gym and to look after my health. When I'm flying, I'm either sleeping or making music most of the time. Sure, you can pick a few songs to play for maybe the first hour, but after that, it all comes down to reading the crowd and living the moment. As a composer and producer though, there's a high point every time I produce a new track. My stage name has always been Armin Van Buuren. When I really started DJing professionally, I already had a few UK hits under my belt under the name Armin, so I couldn't really change that anymore. As a DJ, people expect a certain sound and a certain danceability for the music. As a producer, I really like to let go of any rules that may exist. I remember one of my own gigs. It was my first ever show in the UK in Cream in Liverpool on February 5, 2001. The crowd was so hyped up, and I never felt anything like that before. It was the same day my track Communication was released on a big UK label, so people all of a sudden knew my name and wanted to come and hear my music. That was such a great experience. Each song is the product of all the things I've done or experienced in the past, what I've learned from it and how it changed who I am. Each time, I become a better me. That's also worth noting, I believe. I love how social media allows me to interact with my fans, but I'm not fond of the judgmental nature of social media at all. The spread of trance happened very slowly in America, especially for me. Tiesto was different, I think because he had a god status in the US and was already massive. He sold out arenas on his own in 2004, 2005, when the rest of us were still in clubs. I'm very grateful I went to school to study law, particularly tax law, which really is interesting to me and very useful to me now with my position. Music, however, will always be my #1 passion. I like how it connects everyone. You know, sometimes you're jealous of other people and their achievements, and you want to be that person, but I've come to realize that each individual on this planet has his own path.